Now that we have Uma, and have put to rest numerous side quests, we can finally head to Khar Morhen. Unfortunately, we get stopped by Ymir's troops along the way. The Emperor wants an update, and Geralt begrudgingly agrees. We arrive to find Ymir doing some actual ruling for once, because up to this point, his only interaction with Geralt has been quest-giving.
Imperial Majesty, our spies report that the garrison at Ban Glean consists almost wholly of mercenaries.
Bribery, then.
We stand to lose exactly no men in battle.
And we stand to lose less time. Very well. Give the orders. Then set sail.
As you wish. At once!
Your Imperial Majesty, Yennefer.
I did not have you brought here for an exchange of courtesies. Report.
I don't take orders from you? Why the fuck is that an option? As far as Ymir is concerned, we do take orders from him. And if Geralt was in any way concerned with keeping the skin on his back intact, he would never say something like that.
Is the key to finding her.
I give you 3 solid leads. Trails as fresh as morning dew. The aid of my spies and my court sorcerers. Yet in my daughter's stead, you bring me this monstrosity? I hope you have more to say. For your sake.
Listen, I'm looking for a needle in a haystack. A needle that at any moment can...
It's a difficult task, I know this. What of it? Listen to me. I rule the largest empire the world has ever known. I wage a war against the North, command men in tens of thousands, while at home the trade corporations and nobles seek to depose me. You cannot expect me to pity you the difficulty of your task.
Thank you, Ymir. Now, before we go any further, let's talk about Ymir. I like him up to a point. I like the sound of his voice, and I like his no-nonsense attitude. The major problem I have is that he is a glorified quest giver that takes more shit from Geralt than anyone in his position ever would. It's time for another comparison. In the first game, King Foltest commissions Geralt to attempt saving his daughter from a curse. He also has a no-nonsense attitude, making it explicit that if you fuck around, you gonna get fucked.
If you must slay her, do it quickly, cleanly. If you fail, and my daughter suffers, those dear to you will suffer too.
I understand, sire.
Good.
Ymir is quite similar in a number of ways. The thing about his daughter, getting straight to the point on what he wants. The difference is that Foltest actually does stuff. The first time we see him, he is walking through an active war zone, telling his advisors to shut the hell up. He has conversations with Radovid about politics. He talks with that Nilfgaardian ambassador about the Ballistae. These are just a few of the different interactions Foltest has in relation to his surroundings. The only time we see Ymir do anything other than ask about Ciri is at the beginning of this scene. On top of that, there is the fact that Geralt talks to Foltest with the respect you would expect of someone talking to a king. Presumably because Foltest would have his neck if he did otherwise. On the other hand, Geralt can say and do all manner of disrespectful things to Ymir, and suffer not even so much as a slap on the wrist. I have heard many say that Ymir is an amazing character, and I'm going to say that he barely even is one. He looks cool and he sounds cool, but he barely does anything. This is more disappointing than anything because I really wanted to see this guy in action. The guy planned the death of motherfucking Foltest. I wanted to see a spy master in action, a guy that could manipulate and scheme his way to victory. So now that we're done with Ymir, it's time to return to Khar Morhen.
So, how do we lift Uma's curse?
We must take him to Khar Morhen. Oh, and Geralt, forgive me, but I'm unable to teleport you, Uma, and Roach, so...
Well, that's fine, but at least take Uma with you so I can make better time.
Here, probably better if you keep it.
Of course. I'm off.
Oh, you lazy bitch! Seriously, Her taking Uma would cut maybe a week off my travel time. Do you know how fucking hard it is to travel on horseback with the equivalent of a child? I know she can teleport at least one other person with her, and a good distance too. Whatever, we make our way to the castle and Vesemir meets us at the gate.
Been away quite a while.
Too long.
And your journey, how was it?
Calm, if you don't count the forked tail that flew over our heads a few miles back. Passenger got a little restless.
What have we here? Multiple deformities. Eyes, ears, nostrils, a hair lip. And is this... Now, calm down. Yennefer was right on one count. Thing sure isn't pretty.
Yen's here already?
And how?
You two argue?
Geralt, I understand she's a... well, how do I put this? Emancipated, strong-willed woman.
The word you're looking for is cunt.
But do manners count for nothing? She teleports in, not even a nice to see, jumps right into a we've a curse to lift, there's this to do and that. So Eskel and Lambert get going. Then she went to the guest room to rearrange things. Through the bed, off the balcony.
She fucking what?
Shame. That was a good bed.
Said the same myself. Solid oak frame, down mattress. Triss always said she... Now I see.
You see that Yen is a cunt? After we are done talking with Vesemir, we head inside to see Yen. And I'm not gonna lie, Kaer Morhen looks amazing. I was minorly worried that they would change the design like some games do when it comes to revisiting locations from older titles, but I'm very happy with the place. Even the interior is close to the first game, although I think it's a bit larger and some of the levels are blocked. It would have been neat if we could explore the entire interior, but I guess it's fine the way it is. We make our way up to Yennefer, who is currently having some troubles. I am going to let this shit play in full. Let us listen.
Damned crystal!
You decide to blow us up?
Geralt, I'm in no mood for jests, especially dull ones.
Need to blow off steam? Go ahead, just not on me. Find some other target. I don't know, throw another bed off the balcony.
Ha ha ha. So it's to be dull jokes after all.
Rather have a serious conversation? We can do that if you prefer. So upset about Triss you gotta take it out on the furniture?
Would you prefer I take it out some other way? Know what? We should end this discussion before I say something I'll regret.
But I'd love to hear what you have to say.
Is that so? Very well then. Listen, you shagged my friend for upwards of a year. I cannot know what your witch's code says on the matter, but ordinary folk would consider it obscene, base, vile. I try not to think about it. That stupid bed was making it difficult. That's that.
First off, cunt, how did you know that I used that specific bed with Triss? According to Geralt at the beginning of the game, you have never been to Kaer Morhen. You haven't seen Triss as far as I know, so she couldn't have told you. Vesemir and Eskel wouldn't have said anything, and even though Lambert's an asshole, even he wouldn't have said anything. I did not tell you explicitly, so that leaves one option. You read my fucking mind. Remember this little gem of a line?
And besides, you know there are things I'd rather not know about you.
Yeah, turns out that was a fucking lie. Second, if you hated the bed that much, you could have just asked Vesemir to move it. You came here and destroyed something that did not belong to you, effectively spitting on Vesemir's hospitality. Thirdly, you broke into someone's private laboratory during a funeral. That is base. You unleashed a magic storm that could have potentially killed people across the island. That is vile. You performed necromancy and drained a holy place of its life. That was obscene. All while you had knowledge of a wish-granting djinn that you decided to use selfishly in order to confirm your fucking feelings! You only hold this standard when it applies against you personally. You have no right to judge me. And if you could get over yourself for a few minutes and do some self-reflection, you might find that infidelity is way down the list of problems with your life. And finally, you know full well that witchers suffer from libido because of their mutations. Couple that with memory loss and the fact that you were nowhere to be found, and you should be fully understanding of why this happened. If you actually gave a shit about Geralt, you would have forgiven him for this because you are his friend. Better yet, take it up with Triss. She is more at fault than I am, especially if she knew that you and I were a thing. So Yennefer, with all the sincerity I can muster, go to hell, you insufferable self-righteous skunk. Yennefer gets mad and teleports us to a lake, like the fucking child she is. Hopefully now you can see why I hate the bitch. After all that, we go and help Eskel with his little mission. Eskel is fine in this game, but he is a bit sidelined compared to everyone else. After him, there's Lambert. Lambert is a sourpuss. He's constantly griping about something and being a sarcastic jackass. To be fair to him though, Geralt likes to egg him on. I imagine that the writers meant for this to be friendly banter or verbal sparring, but I consider it to be mean-spirited and annoying. Geralt says stuff like this throughout the whole game. He talks shit to Emir, to Dijkstra, and even Yennefer if you pick the right options. The thing that bothers me is that I cannot find very many examples of this in previous games. Geralt was straightforward more often than not when talking to people, making either direct threats or demanding that the point be made. Maybe Yen has rubbed off on him somehow. The two of them are clearly written to be an item, even if I won't allow it. The bigger issue I have here is with Lambert. His complaints about being forced into witcherdom are understandable, but this was done far better with Berengar from the first game. Lambert's reminiscing about his life and being forced into the role of a witcher amount to little more than some whining. It doesn't really play into the story at large. It's just a way to try and give Lambert some backstory, which would be fine if he wasn't such an insufferable prick about it. There are ways to do this without making me hate Lambert in the process. For example, in the second game, there is a scene with Letho where he and Geralt exchange a drink. During this moment, Letho explains everything he did and why he did it. You could have had something similar where Lambert offers Geralt a drink, whilst asking if he ever regrets becoming a witcher. Something that makes me want to hear what he has to say, instead of making me want to skip all of his dialogue because he's a sarcastic, whiny asshole. The reason I brought up Berengar earlier is because he has similar regrets about becoming a witcher, except his plight is actually relevant to the story. You see, Berengar was captured by the Salamandra shortly before the events of the first game. He then spins a story about what happened, telling Geralt that he sees no difference between witchers and the criminal organization.
What's your connection to Salamandra?
What the hell? It's a simple story. They found me some time ago and the professor made me an offer I couldn't refuse. You know the kind. Help us or we'll feed you your balls. I did what I had to do. It's funny. They remind me of witchers. Never had a choice, with them or you. The witchers made me a mutant. The professor made me a criminal. An outcast twice over. I escaped as soon as I could. They got nothing out of me. I didn't sell anyone out. And then I came here.
Berengar is actually lying here, as he will tell us later.
Berengar?
I betrayed Keir Morhen's location to the Salamandra leader. Then I helped them with their research. I was hunting the beast in the outskirts of Vizima when they captured me. I escaped and ran into Kalkstein, accepting his offer to open the tower in the swamp. That's when they nabbed me again. They weren't as nice the second time around. Finding Alvin, bringing him to them was the only way I could save my skin.
Why are you telling me this?
I wanted to tell you to your face. See that famous icy glare of yours?
Enough, traitor. I don't hear remorse. All I hear is self-pity. You hate what the Witchers did to you, all right. But you joined a group that subjects children to experiments with mutagens. Get out of my sight.
Draw your sword.
I don't advise this. You can't win.
Berengar is both a traitor and a kidnapper. Many of the problems that Geralt faced were because of him. But Berengar doesn't see it that way. He sees all of it as an act of self-preservation. and because he was never given the choice to become a Witcher, he could not technically betray them. It is then up to Geralt to decide if Berengar's actions warrant death. Honestly, this should have been one of the small carryover decisions instead of the major plot points of the second game. A slight cameo or mention of Berengar's fate would have been a nice touch, but we'll have to settle with a scavenger hunt, I guess. Anyway, back to the boring bunch. With everything in place, we are set to begin the ritual. Yennefer uses the Trial of the Grasses, the method used to turn people into witchers, in order to lift the curse. How an alchemical process used to mutate humans can lift a curse, I'll never know, because they will never tell me. Probably would have been nice to have a wish right about now, huh, Yen? We stay up late, waiting for the ordeal to be over, and at last Yen is finally ready to lift the curse.
Nevid, Kariva, Endir!
Geralt, the phylactery, open it!
Planetad, Taran Anadir, Dis!
This is Ciri's elven mage friend, Avallac'h. Now, before we go any further, we need to talk about Ciri's journey, and how it makes no fucking sense. The first place Ciri visited when she returned was Skellige. Shortly after arriving, she is chased by the Wild Hunt and forced to teleport to Velen. Once there, she receives hospitality from the Baron, who is currently missing his family. This is the first time that Ciri is in a position for Emir's spies to report her location. After doing a teleport, Ciri moves on to Novigrad, where she makes herself rather obvious. She is then forced to teleport back to Skellige, where Avallac'h then takes her to the Isle of Mists. Avallac'h is then transformed into Uma, and over time is delivered to the Baron. Now, it is important to note just how much time has passed since all of this happened. Uma is already at the Baron's by the time Geralt arrives. We know this because the Baron got Uma in Novigrad, and the Baron never leaves his estate once we arrive. Furthermore, the Baron says that he went to Novigrad once. Again, I'm not sure if this is a translation thing, but when people say that they went to a place once, they do not mean recently. If I told you that I went to Japan once, or Poland once, that would mean that I went there at least a couple of years ago. We will be very generous and say that he went a month ago, because that is probably what was intended. Add on top of that a month with the merchant that lost Uma to the Baron, and maybe a week or so to the time spent in Skellige. First off, I don't know how Dandelion survived for that amount of time in prison. You would think that given the execution-happy state of things, he would be long dead. Not to mention that his clothes are not even so much as dirty when we find him. There is also the thing I mentioned with the Baron's family. Footprints and horse carcasses don't last for months, especially when large carnivorous monsters roam everywhere. Then there is the Wild Hunt. They track Ciri almost instantly in some cases, but take months in others. They are at Avallac'h's cave at the same time as you. They raid a village about the time you arrive in Velen, and their snow apparently lasts a really long time. At the part where they raid Hindersfjall, Avallac'h is not even Uma yet. Then, when you arrive a month or two later, the snow is still all over the place. Maybe it's magic snow or something, but even so, why wouldn't the townspeople have removed it by now? Then finally, there is Avallac'h himself. What exactly was his plan here? He puts Ciri into a sleep state and then transports her to the Isle of Mists. As far as he knows, she was the only one with the information to lift the curse. Was he planning on leaving there until his curse wore off or something? Because I don't think most curses wear off very fast, if at all. I also don't understand the travel pattern. He leaves the shores of Hindersfjall here. Then he takes Ciri to the Isle of Mists here. Then he transports himself back to Hindersfjall so that Skjall can catch a glimpse of him before passing out again? I'm gonna be honest, I think the reason things happened this way is because the writers wanted the player to have the feeling of being right behind Ciri. the whole way through the different chapters. I think this could have worked out better if Uma was taken out of the game entirely. He's basically a red herring that could have been replaced with a map on a wall, instead of sending us on a wild freak chase across the Northern Kingdoms. It's just an okay story element that becomes a chore on subsequent playthroughs. Now that we have that out of the way, it's time for the main event. We gotta rescue Ciri and fight the Wild Hunt. This next section is the main reason I made this video. What happens at this section is so unbelievably stupid that it makes most of the characters look like massive fucking retards. Avalox says that once we get Ciri, the Wild Hunt will know where she is and come for her. Vesemir thinks it would be best to face the Wild Hunt, rather than have Ciri run for the rest of her life.
And she won't get a second chance. Time we, the hunted, became the hunters. Geralt will find Ciri and bring her here, and the hunt will follow.
You had me up until you said that. Bringing Ciri to Kaer Morhen is a terrible idea. For one thing, this castle is mostly in ruin. Breaks in the wall, unstable structures, and I'm sure someone forgot to mention this to Vesemir, but the Wild Hunt has a fucking army. How many people do we have here? You can't fight the army of the Wild Hunt with just 5 or 6 people, right? Because that would totally make the Wild Hunt look like fucking pansies that never fought a battle in their life.
We plan to fight them. We 5? In a crumbling castle.
Do we have a choice, besides delaying the inevitable?
Yes, Vesemir, I can think of several places that would be a better choice. Did you think you could write that in there and no one would question it? Even if I didn't have a better idea, there would have to be a better idea. We have all the time we could possibly need to find someone with an army to help us. Doing what Vesemir suggests is fucking stupid, and would only end with all of us fucking dead. So it's time to search for alternatives. First off, we go to Skellige and ask Khar for help.
But I need to ask you a favor. A big one.
Tell me, friend.
Ciri. I know where she is, but I also know that as soon as I reach her, the Wild Hunt will know I did. They'll come after us, attack, and we'll need to respond with strength. Can I count on you?
The Black Ones first, now Wraiths. Such is life. Bring her here, and we'll face them in battle.
We can only fight them at Kaer Morhen? What?
Can't risk your men's lives. Kaer Morhen, we fight them there, nowhere else.
Are you fucking kidding me? Why did you even come here then, Geralt? Khar has his own army. This castle is built into the side of a cliff. There is no better place to go. You don't want to risk his men? The alternative is death, you fucking moron! Next we go to Emhyr. He says that he can defend Ciri and Vizima, but Geralt doesn't want to put the townspeople at risk. It's just too bad that there isn't a place that happens to be in the wilderness with thousands of Nilfgaardian troops, because if there were, it would be a perfect place to defend Ciri against the fucking army of the Wild Hunt! Emphasis on the army. He is more than willing, however, to lend us a banner of men, on the condition that General Vorys leads them. Now, this is actually pretty reasonable. Vorys has been the friendliest character in the game. Nearly every interaction he has had with Geralt has been positive. The two of them would make a great team against the Hunt.
And a banner with you. On one condition. General Vorys will lead it.
Can't agree to that.
What? Why the fuck not, Geralt? You came here specifically to get an army, and when Emhyr offers a banner, you refuse because General Vorys has to lead them? Are you worried about betrayal or something? Because soldiers don't need a commander present for that. And once again, I have to stress this, you are going against the fucking army of the Wild Hunt. It would absolutely be worth the risk by taking the Nilfgaardian soldiers. because the alternative is certain fucking death. But whatever, Geralt is too fucking stupid to see that he is shooting himself in the head, so off we go to Ciri. When we reach the Isle of Mists, we come across a couple of dwarves that got lost in the Isle. They are watching over Ciri's unconscious body. I don't know why we needed a Snow White reference, but whatever. They tell us that Ciri is dead, and then we get a 2-minute scene where the game pretends that she's not going to come back to life when everyone who's older than 5 knows that she's going to come back to life. Honestly, just cut the bullshit already. Just knock it down to a minute and stop wasting our time. Anyway, she wakes up and the two of them catch up a bit. It's fine, but what about the Wild Hunt? Oops, they're here already. That was quick. Time to teleport back to Khar Morhen. We get back and Yen comes to greet us. Triss is here as well. I also managed to get help from Zoltan, Letho, Kreia, Roach, Bess, Ermion, as well as Hjalmar and some of his men. In total, we have about 16 people. 16 people against the army of the Wild Hunt. We gon' die. Now, you might be asking yourself, what happens if we recruit none of them? Well, what changes if we just go straight to Ciri and fight the hunt with just the 6 of us? Not a damn thing. It will all play out the same, with or without them. They are nothing but fan service. All are put here to make you feel accomplished with your superfluous collection. There is one difference in that Lambert has a risk of dying in the fight if you don't recruit Kreia. But you can save him by just listening to him bitch while you do his earlier quest for Yen. I got it by accident on my first playthrough, and I was pretty apathetic towards him as well. Anyway, once we say our hellos, Yennefer rapes my face, and Ciri and Vesemir head up to the castle.
Time's short. Wild Hunt will be here soon.
Would you like a moment to yourselves?
Yes, I'm gonna bone my girlfriend.
It's a simple question. Do you want some time alone?
Only if you really don't mind? Okay, listen, to anyone who says that Yen and Geralt belong together, I have a question. Why do you think that? My answer is that the game tries to make you feel bad for picking Triss. The dialogue options you are given for Yennefer specifically have Geralt trying to go easy on her, if not forcing you to agree outright. Yennefer is not a good person, nor does she treat Geralt with much respect. I hate to be that asshole in the shitty Gillette ad, but Geralt ain't gonna be a simp on my watch. We ask Yen to leave, but she can't help herself from being a cockblocker.
Spread out high and...
Hey Yen, I've got a song picked out, just for you.
Oh, fuck, shit, bitch, damn cocksucker, pussy, asshole, cunt, motherfucking dirty whore, shat onto my lunch, piss, cunt, damn bitch, suck my dick, Jesus, Harold Christ, shit, bitch, cocksucker, goddamn motherfucker, pussy, asshole, cunt.
Now it's time for the final preparations. We all come together and begin talking about what we need to fix. These decisions change nothing about the story, so once again they are pretty much useless. We tell Ciri to wait inside the main hall, which makes sense. She is the one that the Wild Hunt is coming to get. She protests this because she doesn't want to sit and wait while others risk their lives for her.
Listen to me this once. Don't take matters into your own hands.
Don't treat me like a child.
Don't treat me like a child, Okay, Ciri. How about this? Once we are all dead, which is inevitable, you can fight the Wild Hunt all you'd like by yourself. Let us play the what if game. What if the hunt managed to knock you out or freeze you with magic? What if a stray arrow cripples you? What if they could somehow, I don't know, instantly teleport to you somehow and take you prisoner? There are so many ways that having you in the fray could go wrong. And you are the MacGuffin, if you will. If the hunt gets you, then everything is over. I have no doubt that you can fight, but save it for after the rest of us are dead. We finish our preparations and the battle begins. Geralt, Lambert, and Letho head out into the forest to meet the Wild Hunt. Okay, first off, you don't do that. You have a castle that protects you on all sides, and you leave it so that you can be surrounded on all sides? Do I have to get into the tactical benefits of a castle? Whatever, man. Castles are just for decoration more than anything else. Oh, but they're going to ambush the Wild Hunt. You know, element of surprise. Except it's an ambush with 3 people, and a surprise only lasts for a few seconds before your enemy surrounds you and cuts your head off of its stump. Meanwhile, Yennefer is creating some kind of magical barrier around the place. So Geralt and company are not only leaving the safety of the castle walls, but are also exposing themselves to possible magical attacks. If they stayed at the castle, then Yen could make the barrier smaller, and possibly use less energy. Oh, what's this? It seems Ciri has decided not to stay in the keep.
You were meant to wait inside!
I must confront them, or I want to fight too. These are really the options?
I cannot hide forever. I must face them.
Back inside now!
No! Geralt gave the signal from the woods and Triss hasn't cast the spell.
Damn it! Alright, run to her.
What? Why don't you do it, Vesemir? Oh no, is that a Wild Hunt soldier on the walls of the keep? How did he get here? They're teleporting onto the walls? If they can do that, why bother teleporting into the forest at all? What is the point of Yen's magical barrier if it can't stop portals? Holy shit! That guy just teleported behind Ciri and almost killed her. Did he do that intentionally? He didn't even stop to get his bearings, so I assume he did it on purpose. If he can do that, then why are these walls not already covered in these guys? You should definitely go back to the keep now. One dude was enough to almost kill your ass. We cut back to Geralt and get to see just how shit the Wild Hunt is at fighting. And also the uselessness of their armor. I bet you assholes wish you were behind a castle wall right about now, huh? I will say that I find their back-to-back teamwork kind of neat. Gotta wonder what Letho's back looks like right about now, though.
Geralt!
Head back.
Oh, there's Letho. What a miracle he was under the corpse when that blast hit. Or at least I assume he was. We ride back to the castle with fire raining down around us. And I gotta ask, why didn't Triss do this right off the bat? She had time to prepare the spell before they started attacking, so why not have the Witchers protect her on the wall while she dropped fire into the forest? Was it so that Ciri would be forced to come out and help? I'm betting that it was so Ciri would be forced to come out and help. We get back and Vesemir tells us to go and close the gate. We should have started with the gate closed and us inside the castle, but I've already said that. And I'll probably say it again. The Wild Hunt are now teleporting all over the courtyard. We get to the gate control and close it. But what's this? It looks like Lambert is in trouble. Well, we just threw enough stakes out the window to feed dozens of homeless people. How the hell can Kreia lift 5 fucking guys off the ground without breaking a sweat? Why didn't she do that back at Avalok's cave? In fact, why hasn't she been doing this the entire fight? Put her on the front wall and have her kill the guys finna break in.
We gotta pull back! Yennefer's strength is waning!
Are you serious? At this rate, we'll be dead in like 10 minutes. We go through one of the archways and Vesemir uses a balistade to crumble it behind us. Hey Vesemir, maybe you're just too fucking old and stupid to notice, but these Wild Hunt niggas got portals. And all that bolt probably did was bring down the property value. Uh-oh, but what's this? Now it looks like Eskel is in trouble. Well, that's gonna be a few broken ribs, isn't it?
See, I can do it too.
Oh, you go, girl. So no broken ribs, huh? Not a single one. So after some more fighting, we are tasked with defending the gate to the inner courtyard. We kill some more of the hunt, but Yen finally passes out, which causes everyone but Vesemir and Ciri to become frozen. Geralt stands frozen and defenseless, so the hunt come into the courtyard and kill him where he stands. They walk past him! Oh my... They walk past... The man who has killed dozens of their comrades now stands defenseless in front of them, and they walk past him. Let me guess. There is some special rule that prevents them from killing frozen people. Or maybe it's like Predator, where if you cover yourself in ice, they can't see you. A true masterpiece. A 10 out of 10 game. What an amazing story! Where the plot armor is so thick, your enemy won't even kill you when you are directly in their path. I laugh to hide my pain. Why not instead have Geralt be blown back against the wall? That way it would have at least made sense that they didn't kill him. So the Wild Hunt comes in and Vesemir tries to run away with Ciri. To where? I have no idea, but the Wild Hunt comes in and pretty much kicked their asses. It's a good thing that the king of the Wild Hunt can't teleport instantly like Triss or Yen, cause this would be over real quick. So the bulking dude has Vesemir, Ciri is in a daze, and everyone else is probably frozen. What was that thing you said to a mirror, Geralt?
Can't agree to that.
Uh-huh. And what about Croc?
Can't risk your men's lives. Khar Morhen. We fight them there, nowhere else.
I'm glad I get to make the choices.
Now it's time to finish the job. Goodbye, Archibald.
Why are you doing this?
Because my master told me to. King Dragon sends his regards.
Oh, fuck this. Fuck this. Let's negotiate.
No thanks. King Dragon sends...
Where is Prince Horus?
I don't know. King Dragon... It's a good thing I always carried 2 guns.
Okay.
Run! She'll not abandon you.
That's the king of the Wild Hunt? He looks like a smarmy goth kid.
You always were an unruly child. I adored that about you. Now fly!
So this is the big sad moment, right? Vesemir dies and I'm supposed to feel bad or something, yeah? Well, let me tell you how I felt the very first time I saw this. I was annoyed more than anything. But now I'm just mildly amused. What was that thing you said earlier, Vesemir?
We plan to fight them. We five? In a crumbling castle.
Do we have a choice, besides delaying the inevitable?
You actually thought that we could fight off the army of the Wild Hunt in this rundown castle. You didn't even look for alternatives. No one did. Everyone just accepted that we were going to fight an army here. Of all places. Did you know that the longest siege in history lasted like 30 fucking years? I've had defecations that lasted longer than the siege of Khar Morhen. The people who made this game desperately wanted to have a battle at Khar Morhen, despite how little sense it made. They provided no option to choose an alternative, and they give the most half-assed excuses for why we couldn't have done it somewhere better. Tell me, which is better? Fighting an army with an army in a city filled with civilians, or fighting in the wilderness with 16 people? One of those options ends with everyone dead. Go ahead and guess which one I mean. That is why I feel nothing for Vesemir when watching him get his neck snapped. The stakes for this entire fight rely on people making stupid-ass decisions, and not once does anyone seriously question them. This is nothing more than the inevitable outcome for your retarded strategy. So good job, Vesemir, you stupid fucking faggot. Well, Eskel is now deaf, on top of having broken ribs. So I have given it some thought, and I am, at least in concept, okay with Ciri's God in the Machine moment. It's explained at one point that she doesn't have total control of her power, and having an emotional trauma like the death of a loved one can cause something like this to make sense. I find it kind of funny that a woman's emotional reaction is what gives her ultimate power, though. And I'm not going to explain why. My problem with the whole scene is the execution and the build-up. At this point, it is now clear why all of these characters made their stupid decisions. The battle had to be at Khar Morhen so that there would be no chance of victory. Geralt had to run into the forest so Ciri would have to leave the keep and save Triss. Ciri and Vesemir had to be the only ones to survive the freezing so that Vesemir would get killed. And Ciri had to be in the perfect state of confusion and grief in order to go nuclear. At least that is what it looks like is happening. The way that I would have made this make sense is by having everyone here unaware that the hunt would find Ciri. We start off by having Geralt and Yen travel to the Isle of Mists, only to find an unconscious Ciri. Yen teleports them back to Khar Morhen, and when Ciri wakes up, she tells them that the hunt will soon find them. This gives us only a brief time to prepare, and then the hunt comes and quickly makes their way to the inner courtyard. Vesemir is killed and Ciri goes nuts. You get your emotional payoff, and Ciri's powers are unleashed with a logical progression behind it. So what happens now? Well, we have to burn Vesemir's body. The game does this thing where it wants us to feel sad, and shows us around Khar Morhen while playing sad music. If the events leading up to this made sense, I might feel what they want. But I am just frustrated with the whole thing. We say our goodbyes to everyone that helped, and then we talk with Avallac'h about what to do next. The short version of this conversation is that Yen wants to get the lodge together in order to help fight the Wild Hunt. But Ciri is sick of not being involved.
Will you help me?
Of course. Even got an idea where you could start. Damn it! Again you planned without even asking what I think. I've had enough of this. I won't be taken somewhere like a bundle. I will not sit and twiddle my thumbs. I am sick of waiting, sick of hiding.
You're right, or gotta protect you. Here's my response. Shut the fuck up. You nearly died once and almost got captured. Everyone here has literally hundreds of years on you. They have been in wars, magical battles, and fought all manner of man and monster. Your primary talent is spontaneous magical outbursts. Stop yelling like a spoiled brat and understand that your closest friends are doing their damnedest to try and protect you.
You're right. Prove today you can take care of yourself.
The hell she can.
We must let her resolve her grief on her own. Then we should start training as soon as possible. She must learn to control her abilities.
This training really necessary?
Why are you a fucking idiot, Geralt?
You saw what happened. She could be a greater threat than the Hunt.
You're right, Yen, but fuck you too, just because. The witches head to Novigrad while we stay behind for a while longer.
It's not working, don't you see?
Discouraged after a mere 8 attempts? Cyril.
How many times must I try?
Until you get it fucking right. Whatever it is.
But I'm not getting anywhere.
Well, I've heard that giving up is the quickest way to success.
We shall return to this later.
Didn't make it far first time out on the gauntlet either.
Geralt, please, not now. By comparison, the gauntlet was a walk in the park. But that's not the point.
What is?
Avallac'h says nothing will come of this until I stop thinking about the battle. But at the moment, I find it impossible to fill my head with kittens and vanilla pudding. Tell me, how do you do it?
What?
Always manage to pull yourself together. Focus. No matter what's happening.
So here we are given two choices. If you pick option 2, Geralt and Ciri have a snowball fight. If you pick option 1, Ciri ends up dead and you get the bad ending. Quite the contrast, huh? Okay, time to explain this shit. For the rest of the game, you are given a number of binary choices in conversations with Ciri. If you choose enough bad ones, she dies and you get the bad ending. The problem is that most of the choices are incredibly misleading and even downright arbitrary. I am going to go through each one and explain why either decision can be reasoned as good or bad. This is the first time you see this, and it looks like just another run-of-the-mill nonsense choice, right? The game is full of these dialogue choices that do not actually matter, which will condition most players into not even considering these options. This one here makes probably the least amount of sense, because it is so devoid of context that it may as well be a coin toss.
Toss a coin!
No, fuck you. Anyway, we have our little snowball fight and Ciri is all cheered up. The next thing that happens is that Ciri wants to go to Velen to the Witch's Sabbath, because the guy who killed Vesemir is going to be there. And here we get another choice. We can either go straight to Velen or take Ciri to Emir on the way. This will affect the different endings you can have. I chose the Visit the Emperor option for this playthrough, but I will talk about the different endings when we get to it.